try to make me feel embarrassed. There are taps I've been in name, but they tell me I'm the one with problems. They're the ones who are insane, so for those who are but won't admit it, you shouldn't be like that, cause you could be 20% cooler and 10 seconds slower. Shout it out. I'm proud to be a brony. Yeah, yeah. I'm proud to be a brony.
Hello, mayors and gentlecolts, my fellow bronies. Welcome to I'm Brony and I'm Proud. I've got IndieNotes with me. G'day, Indy.
Hello, everyone.
How did you become a brony?
Long story short, I was working at Comic-Con, and my boss told me to work the My Little Pony panel. I was skeptical at first, not because of the fandom, but because I didn't know anything about it, and I felt bad giving anyone a bad experience, saying, I don't know. The guy working front told me just to go inside and watch it. He promised I'll become a brony when I come out. Came out of the panel, said it was cute, wasn't into the idea, watched all of season 1 and 2 the next day, fell in love with it, and decided, hey, I need to find more friends. That's pretty much the short version of the story.
What is the long version?
Oh, the long version is right after the panel, he wanted to actually hang out and be like, hey, do you want to be a brony? It's going to be a fun experience. Told him, nah, it's cool, man. It's not for me. Yeah, I'll stick to more, I guess, cooler things, in my opinion, which is like Legend of Zelda stuff. When I came home that night, my brothers were older than me. I was like, hey, can you watch something with me? Kind of a little skeptical about this right now. After we watched it, I'm thinking, this is the greatest show in the world. This is super awesome. I need to know more. I went back home after that, went online. I'm thinking there has to be a Facebook community in New York that is all about bronies as well. I have all this pent up feelings and thoughts that I need to just throw at people. Found a page, became friends with everyone, and this is where I'm at now.
Awesome. You said you watched an episode with your brother.
My brother has always been into pop culture world. He's the reason I am that person now. So I figured someone like him, who's always guided me through a lot of things, would be okay with just sitting down and watching something, be it childish or not. And he's always been kind of like my base for becoming a geek. I felt, he'd be the first person I should watch this with. Now he watches it once in a while on TV just as a joke, only to call me and say, so, Pinkie Pie did this. And I'm like, of course she did. It's Pinkie Pie. Who else would it be? He's older by 6 years. He's the best person in the world. I love him. He supports my music and he tells people about me. And I just found out that like 4 of his friends who are of his age or older are bronies. And they're just like jealous and excited of like what I'm doing.
Oh, it's all in good fun, I'm sure. That leads to the next question. How did you become a musician? AKA whatever you want to be.
I started playing guitar when I was 14 years old, which was back in 2001. I've been trying to write music since then. Nothing went out into the internet because I was always scared of my outlets. When it became to the brony fandom, though, I started covering some of the songs from the show, like Smile and Giggle at the Ghostlies, thinking, this is pretty decent. Let me try to record it. Back in 2012, all I had was a really, really, really bad laptop and a Rock Band microphone was pretty much my setup at the time. My camera was internal. I would spend nights just staring at my recordings thinking, this is terrible. No one's going to want to watch this. No one's going to care. I met a friend of mine who's now my guitarist. He goes by the name Marshall Major. When I became roommates with him, he kept pushing me, saying, go play open mics, go perform, go show people what you've created. Eventually, I've worked up the courage to do it. People started complimenting, and I felt a little more inclined to want to be more of a musician now. Started composing original songs. He pushed that I recorded, put it on YouTube, online. One Drop is one of the first songs that I have never changed since I've uploaded it. I started meeting other musicians who kept giving me more points and tips on how to be a better producer, which has been pushing me to today.
Has becoming a musician something you've always wanted to be since 14? Or have there been, pun the pun, notes of influences or something happening earlier than that?
If I could be really, 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 I guess the word would be shallow and blunt for a second. The reason I wanted to be a musician at 14 was because that was a cool thing to do. All the musicians in my high school were getting girls, and I was this 14-year-old nerd with like Star Trek, Dragon Ball Z t-shirts thinking, I'm not going to find a girlfriend if I'm just this nerd. I need to do something cool. And my friend told me, guitar class, be a musician. I told him, hey, why not? Since then, I fell in love with music. I've fallen down that rabbit hole even deeper, and now I like to consider myself a full-fledged musician.
That's awesome. And as Shaggy once said, when people say it's for the music, he said it's full of crap, it's for the money and for the chick. So you're not alone. So he must be the Applejack of whatever music genre he is.
Honestly, she's also my favorite.
Fantastic. Leading on, what do you consider are your influences and inspirations for your work as a musician? We can go as far as saying a human being.
One of my main inspirations, the reason why IndieNotes became who he is, was two things. One was Applejack, because the fact that she was always honest with herself, and at the end of any episode where she taught the lesson of, this is who I really am and I'm okay with it, it made me realize that as a musician, I shouldn't be ashamed of how I sing or how I play. I should just show people my passion and what I love doing. As far as a real human being, actually, this is going to be a small little shout out to two musicians. My guitarist friend, Marshall Major, introduced me to two artists. One of them everyone knows under the name of Yournigma. The second is Les Soldats Pony. When I was first introduced to Les Soldats, he does folk acoustic music, and it resonated so well with me that it gave me this passion, this fire to say, you know what? I want to be that dude too. I want to be an acoustic musician in a Brony fandom of electronics. Be, different, the black sheep, if you would. As far as Yournigma, I've always found his music and his stylings amazing, how he just ranges from a very opera to a more rock and roll tune to a very dancey tune. And I've always wanted to take that inspiration to my style where one song could be a little faster, slower, etc. Became friends with Yournigma eventually, and he would spend nights with me talking about music and production, how to get better, what I should do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And it's because of him and the formerly mentioned Les Soldats who has been giving me this push to consistently strive to be this musician I am.
That's awesome. We'll get to your work in a minute. One thing that's clearly evident, you have this ability to jump from one style of music to another from each of the tracks you put out. So well done.
Thank you.
I'm very much a fan of acoustic music, acoustic guitar. There's definitely opportunities to be unique, which is great, like yourself.
I do believe that. Beauty about the acoustic guitar is you can play very subtly and soft and give it a gentle touch, or you can just slam against it and give it such power, such drive. Woodlore, Manda Pony, the acoustic bronies all seem to capture that essence of the acoustic guitar. And it's something so admirable and so appreciated when it comes to the world of music. And till this day, I am very much happy that I'm becoming part of that group.
That's great to hear. Speaking of groups, the Brony community.
They are amazing people. They never cease to amaze me on the kindness they bring. It's really crazy because when I first became a Brony, a bunch of my friends who are not were kind of skeptical on the matter. One of my friends told me it'd be detrimental to me because it wouldn't be social, since geeks are known to be not as social. And now joining a fandom of a show for little kids, he'd assume that it'd be worse. Told by many people that I'm either not gonna make friends or do anything with it. They tried to instill the fear of joining a fandom of a show for little kids would be really hurtful. Since then, going to conventions, and all I've met was just amazing, kind-hearted people. People who look at you and don't just see you as a kid dressed up as this person or a person who acts like this. It's more like, you're a human. I love you. You're awesome. Let's just be friends. The beauty from that fandom, I got to meet many wonderful people. One of them was my guitarist, Joseph, or Marshall Major, who pushed me be more of a Brony, be more proud of who I am. Because of that, I ended up meeting my lovely girlfriend who now plays saxophone with me in my band, who has slowly and definitely becoming a Brony as well. And then, again, meeting Yournigma, meeting musicians like Sprocket, becoming friends with them, they've all given me this amazing feeling. On top of the non-musician bronies, like just the regular bronies I've met at meetups, they just huggable people who just always brings a smile to my face whenever I walk in through those doors, be it meetup or conventions. And I just wish there was a way I can show the world this, because from what my friends have told me to the new friends that I've met now, it's completely different from what I thought the Brony fandom would be.
Sounds like you've proved all your worst critics wrong and then some. That must feel pretty good, huh?
It does, I mean, to this day, they still tell me, I've only said that because I was worried about you, but at the same time, I tell them you shouldn't have been worried or doubtful of the choices I'd like to make.
Absolutely true. Stuff like that comes out of a place of fear. And it's natural. We fear what we don't understand while they're missing out on something that's potentially 20% cooler.
It is. And the beautiful part is the fandom of bronies are the reason I've been able to be more open with my music, more outgoing. And I have so much things planned to do myself in this fandom. I've also actually started picking up sketch drawing with a pencil that I've been posting on some of my pages.
Fantastic. Bit more about that.
Love drawing anime, and I'm bad at that. When I first met Andy Price, who is the illustrator for the My Little Pony comics, I thought his art was amazing. I wanted to try to just take it as an inspiration. And every now and again when I'm bored, I'll just take a pencil and just sketch a random pony. Or I would ask people online if I can draw their OCs. And I'll just post it on Instagram just as a little black and white sketch. Just something fun to do when I'm not doing music.
Yeah, Instagram, when I first tried it out myself, I was like, how is this useful? I'm just posting pics here. I could easily do it on anything else. And then it occurred to me, it's like, so my guest has actually got an OC. It's like, oh, that's Instagram worthy. And show has a presence there. Shameless plug, but you guys will be able to find the links pretty much either on the YouTube channel or SoundCloud. It has a place, it has usefulness, and it's a great way to promote yourself.
I find it enjoyable only because I can put up pictures of myself like rehearsing for a show or a sketch I did. I feel like it's a good way to let my fans in on a little bit on the personal life of indie, but not like where you're following me on Facebook and seeing my everyday life. Instagram can be like, hey, by the way, today I went hiking and played guitar at 1,600 feet. So check that out.
Having said that, let's talk about your creative process.
As far as the creative process goes, guess I could say I do and I don't have a process. It's more of how I feel or what I feel when I play. Whenever I'm in between composition of songs, I listen to a lot of bands or musicians or songs that I love and I've heard through my years for inspiration. I take notes from those songs, take notes on like what chord progressions, what notes they use, how the singer sings. Some of my major influences being City and Color and John Mayer. I take kind of anything from them, mush it together with my personal styles and kind of compose a song from there. Since the beginning of IndieNotes to now, that a lot of my lyrics tend to have a very well written storyline, kind of a vivid idea of what the character's going through in that song. And I've also picked up that a lot of my songs have a very somber, downer vibe to them. The reason that's happened is because when I write my lyrics, my go-to character has always been Luna because she's been the character, in my opinion, to have gone through a lot, be it heartbreak, be it betrayal, deceit, and all that. I use that element to write my songs, which gives it that vibe. From there, when I listen to the chords that I've created, I kind of feel out what other character from the series I want to relate it to, be it an actual main six, a background, or a completely obscure character from that one episode no one will ever remember ever again. From there, I write the song, finish it up, add the lead guitar, add the harmonies, pretty much call my friends, my girlfriend, my guitarist as my focus group, give them the song, say, what do you think? Delete this, add this, what do I do? They give me the input, finish the song, and then it goes online.
Sounds like this is not just a group, but a band of sorts. Feel free to talk about that.
The band, it got formed, I think, 2015 most likely. It was for PonyCon 2015. They asked me if I wanted to perform, but they don't want just acoustics. They want a full band because it was supposed to be called the Rock Farm Concert. When I first started dating my girlfriend, Fuyu, who, as I've mentioned before, I've met through the fandom, I found out she played saxophone, told her right then and there, you need to do this with me. We need to write songs. So when I've heard about the concert for the convention, I told her we need to do this. I called Marshall Major, who is my longtime Brony friend who got me into the fandom even more, to play lead guitar. I needed a bassist, so my girlfriend said, I have a friend, called her, and that's about the gist of it. As far as a drummer, I've never had a drummer, so I've been using a drum program to fill the shoes there. Musicians that I know are very well educated in music theory, which is something I don't have, which I use as a positivity and a negativity. Negativity only because it's hard to communicate with other musicians when I say I play this or that because I don't know what key I'm in, I don't know what scale I'm using or what progression I'm going for. So it's kind of a little wall that we're trying to chisel our way through. The positivity about that is because it's all by ear, I feel like I'm in an open world with no laws or boundaries. I can go here or there, play a note. If I don't like it, move on instead of feeling I already know that. It gives me more opportunity to actually learn more about music and more about myself in a more free-range world.
Sounds good to me. And I have to ask, how did things turn out at PonyCon?
2015 was amazing. I got to meet Cyril the Wolf, who is an amazing guy all over. His bandmates are fun. They've cracked up jokes all convention long, and it just put everyone in a much happier and calm mood as far as musicians go. Especially me. My first convention ever and my first live performance as IndieNotes in a big scale as opposed to a 30-person meetup. I was nervous-sided, if you would. Got to hang out with Yournigma more, who also helped me just overcome these fears. My bandmates, they were the cherry of that Sunday of musicians and friends that helped me just keep my cool and perform at my very best. 2015 was amazing. I got to meet and chat a bit with Daniel Ingram, the musical composer of the show, where he also gave me the opportunity to perform on my guitar when we all sang Smile for the audience. And I got to also meet a plethora of voice actors. All of them are just peachy. All of them smile on their faces, hugging everywhere, all around good vibes. 2016 was practically the same thing where I got to meet a bunch of other people and old friends who I've made through last year, which made me feel more comfortable in performing live. The shakeups in Ponyville were in both 2015 and 16 for PonyCon, and just seeing them again just made the room so much brighter. I can't thank anyone enough for all they've given and all they've done to the convention and to me as far as give me the ability to perform and be a better musician.
It's funny you say that because the Shake-Ups in Ponyville are very much friends of the program. Listeners, if you're curious of hearing more about the Shake-Ups, tune into episode 32 of the podcast in this season, season 4, as well as episode 10 from good old season 1 with Patrick and Savannah. So check them out. The Shake-Ups are just lovely, aren't they?
They are. Sci-Fi Sparkle is one of the coolest guys ever as a musician. He's like fellow hardcore geek, so just chatting with him online or in person about anything pony related or non-pony related has been a delight. He is an interesting character, and anytime I'm just chatting with him or talking to him, I'm always learning something new, be it pony or not. It's a big treat. Rarely, Apple Sass, and Savvy Shy. They are amazing people too, all of them. Smiles all around, always interacting with the children in the fandom, I believe is beautiful because they kind of bridge the gap between bronies are for adults or for kids. They bridge that and they bring together this community of awesomeness. Honor and a pleasure to be friends with them.
It sure is.
I used to play just at the meetups, which was like 20, 30 people at a time. And I'd play like 2 or 3 songs because I just started writing at that time. PonyCon is ran by Bronies NYC, who also run PonyCon NYC. I would meet with the people who ran the convention. They would say, have you considered performing at the convention? Told them I did not. I didn't even think I was considered good, in quotes, worthy enough to perform at a convention, let alone against the big leaguers like Cyril, Yournigma, and such. And they told me you should do it. And one of the weirdest moments I will never get over, this one gentleman who been going to the meetups and the conventions came up to me and said, this is my guitar. I got all the autographs from all the voice actors and musicians. I want you to sign it too. It was one of those overwhelming feelings of someone actually listens to me, my music, loves it, and respects me as a musician enough to want autograph something. I consider myself still a nobody in this fandom, and yet there's people out there asking me to take pictures with them, autograph things for them, or people who have connected with me and said, hey, can we collaborate? I love your work. It's an overwhelming feeling that I don't know if I can ever get over.
Something that sticks with you for life. Now let's talk about your work, starting with One Drop.
I was following Equestria Daily, and I heard about this fan-made episode called Snowdrop. And I'm thinking, let's be honest with yourself, Indy. You will find your gems, but most of the time, because fandom grew so much, you'll always have your bad eggs. So I came into the Snowdrop episode with a little bit of caution. Watched it, practically teared up as to how adorable the story is. And I thought to myself, you know what? She needs a song. I need to show my appreciation for what Silly Philly Studios did. Started writing some of the chords, and surprisingly, I did write this around wintertime. I took a lot of inspirations for my lyrics by looking out of my window at the snow on the backyard and on the streets and everything, and try to think, like, what can I use to describe the amazingness that is Snowdrop? And how can I translate the positive message, her episode, my own lyrics, using the inspiration of the show and outside snowy wintertime that was in my time zone. I ended up actually writing this adorable poem that I am still proud of to this day. It was just an acoustic song, but it wasn't until PonyCon when they said we needed a full band where I thought I need to start writing lead, bass, and drums for this, and also backing vocals and stuff.
Sounds like the timing couldn't have been better with the right season for inspiration. And should I say a bit of inspiration manifestation. Am I right, Indy?
Exactly, 100%. I grew up pretty much in New York City, born and raised. Recording for me was hectic. My apartment building where I used to live, it was facing the boiler room that was right under me. So whenever I recorded, you would always hear this really low and subtle buzz. And it would be so frustrating because I want to get rid of that sound. I wish I had like magic to just make it disappear. So I moved upstate 2 hours north, and I felt like I would finally get that peace and tranquility. But then I try recording, and then I get morning traffic just passing in front of me. I found a perfect recording spot, unorthodox to say that, to mention where it is, but my perfect recording spot so far has been my bathroom. It has like these very soft padded ceilings. It's all in the back of the apartment away from the main street. So quiet and subtle now. If I ever had a picture posted online somewhere, you would see my laptop on the sink, guitar is just by the toilet, microphone is just somewhere in a clutter of mess.
Well, necessity is the mother of invention. Isn't that right, Indy?
Yes. You know what they say, make do with what you have.
Your music's indie. The way you live is indie. So you live and breathe IndieNotes, don't you?
It became a simple drawing, not a drawing, but it became a simple OC maker kind of thing because I'm a Brony. I felt like it was just standard procedure to have an OC, to writing a song, to posting songs online, to performing. Now it's like every day I'm doing one thing for like at least an hour that's IndieNotes related. So he slowly evolved into exactly who I am now as a human. I am now both Aaron and IndieNotes.
And on to Super Speedy Sales Ponies. I don't think I've heard any other artists do a song for the Flim Flam Brothers. It seems like it could be a pair that could be maybe tricky to write a song for, but you seem to have nailed it. So talk about that one.
That's the song that I wrote that, to be 100% honest, is a song that I don't want to do. I do want to revamp it and bring it back to life, but from when I first recorded it to what's online right now, it's one of those moments where you're just like, I just wish I had more time on that one. But that was a song that was actually forced to be made because PonyCon needed a full band, and only one full song I had was one drop. That was a full band song. So it was one of those, just belt out some random chords, just give me something powerful and driven and just make it. Started with the acoustics. I wrote these chords and I'm like, what do I do with it? And I thought to myself, what's the one thing IndieNotes would never, ever be known for doing? And I thought, I'm going to rap. Lyrics kind of just became that. It just became a rap over what I guess would be considered like very hard blues kind of style of music. Once I finished writing the drums, the lead bass stuff, I was thinking to myself, you know what? I've made friends with this other Brony rapper who goes by the name of Divine Arcane, who I've collaborated with him as well on one of his songs. And I felt friendship is magic kind of thing, pay it forward. He has little to no fame in the Brony community. So I figured people are starting to get to know who I am. People kind of understand who Indie is and are starting to listen to my music. Why don't I put him on one of my songs so people can meet this guy and hear him and understand who he is? So instead of writing a guitar solo for one of the parts of the songs, I figured just give that whole section to Arcane. I told him the song is about Flim Flam. You're playing Applejack in this song. You're going to tell me what you think about the Flim Flam and how that song's going to go about. But in the end, that was just a completely forced song that I wish I had more time to better. Now the convention's over and I have more time to record and more freedom, I guess, at this moment. I'm going to fix that song a lot more.
No worries. Kudos to you as a creator and collaborator. So as my understanding, you pumped that song out. Sounds like it wasn't too far off the convention for your set. Am I right?
I wrote that song, I think, like 2 weeks before the convention in like a 2-day time span just because I needed that song to be done and online so that I can tell people like, oh, hey, this song, by the way, is online.
Whoa. This fandom is so crazy. My gosh, that's amazing, man. And how many songs did you end up performing with your band at PonyCon anyway?
PonyCon 2015, I only played 5 songs in my set, which was about half an hour more. It was 3 full bands and 2 acoustic tracks. PonyCon 2016, I got a one-up, or level up actually, where they gave me 3 days of performance. 2 of them I played for 30 minutes, and then on the final day I performed for a whole hour.
Wow. Lucky Naito stopped responding. Gee, level up. That's an understatement. Even initially, I mean, you were playing half an hour of your own music, yeah?
Yes. Well, for 2015 and then the first 2 days of 2016, it was my own music. On the 3rd day of 2016, for the full hour, it was a mix of half hour my music, half hour covering songs from the show. That it would be a good way for the crowd to just sing along with me.
Pretty confident to say that they all did, am I right?
A lot of them did, and I actually managed to find one video where somebody recorded themselves singing along to myself, Bitsy, Applesauce, and Strumbeat Strings, all of us singing Smile Song.
Ah, beautiful. And as you said, friendship is magic. And a different kind of magic, somber. Talk about how that song came about. We don't hear too many songs about the villains, or he didn't have much to say, but you certainly gave him a voice. Talk about him.
He's actually my favorite villain, despite the fact that he was only around for 1 episode. I fell in love with Sombra only because of the story and the lore in that 1 episode, how adult the content went as far as like capturing slavery and all that stuff. It just really, really caught my attention. Second would be Chrysalis, but that's not the person we're talking of right now. Sombra, song Somber, or Sombra, I forgot the name of the song actually. That song came about with my love for James Blunt. He has a lot of songs that uses a lot of poppy but downward kind of feel in his music, and I wanted to kind of imitate that. So when I wrote the chords, figured who would be the best character to fit this song? It's very negative sounding, but it has a punch to it with the way I perform it. And I figured what was better than the best character in the villain criteria as that I think of, which is King Sombra. Lyrically, I wanted to portray the lyrical stylings of Jack Black. He has this skill of just telling you a story in his way. Now, the lyrics, though, came before the chord progression. It was around the first time I became a Brony. I was hanging out with Marshall Major, and we were trying to compose a song. We wanted to be a band together, and we wanted to make a Brony parody group called, now, bear with me on this one, this was a work in progress title, but we wanted to call ourselves Bernacious P, which is a kind of a parody name of Tenacious D. The song was terrible. We scrapped it after the first time we ever composed it. In one day it was made and then destroyed. I kept the lyrics archived in my computer, and then like a year or two later, I read them and I'm like, they still sound good. I kind of want to give it justice. So I redid the chords on my guitar, gave it a different oomph to it, rearranged the lyrics a little bit, and that's how that song came to be.
Well, that's really cool. So yeah, it's something you did, time ago and then coming back and breathing new life into it. That's amazing stuff. And just play, get a little bit more insight. What is it about Sombra that makes him your favorite villain from the program?
I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. Eye of Sauron and how he just wanted to destroy and enslave Middle-earth. It always resonated with me. Not saying I'm an evil character, but I've always been a guy that always loves learning about the enemy side as well. Be it anything from fictional worlds like the Borg in Star Trek, or even in real life history, World War II and stuff. So when Sombra came in and I noticed that he had something very similar to the Eye of Sauron in Lord of the Rings, I was thinking, this is beautiful. This is Hasbro, the people who write My Little Pony. I just wanted to give them the biggest high five for kind of giving you that same idea that you get from real or other fantasy worlds into this little kid's cartoon, a show that's supposed to give you like happy, peppy, adorable times. This show gives you this monster of a beast of a villain. This guy, he enslaved this whole kingdom. That's amazing in a lore kind of way. And I wanted to just write about that and show my, I guess you could say, my appreciation for the talent that the writers created here.
That's awesome. And to bring us home, what is the future for IndieNotes?
I plan to release my first album, if everything goes according to plan so far, with bandmates and my very old computer right now. Aside from that, I'm trying to make ends meet in my personal life so I can also travel to New York City again to start performing at the meetups again.
That's great to know. And what about your sketch work as well? Do you see that evolving?
It's just one of those back burner hobbies that I just, once in a blue moon, I'll just pick up a pencil and think, I think I want to draw Applejack today. And then I won't draw again for another month and a half. Just throwing it out there. I do love sketching though. It's one of my favorite hobbies aside from music and video games. Instagram, I have it there. Anyone who has an OC, I'm more than welcome to draw it because what else is there to do?
And all the fan service that's coming up.
Nah, it's all cool. I can handle it. Hashtag humble brag.
Oh, that's great. Oh, great.
As far as the future of IndieNotes goes, the music I have currently online has a very popish feel, or a very, I guess you could say, generic acoustic sounds to them. As of recently, I've been really teaching myself through the online world, been learning more about how to play the blues, how to play more lead guitar. So trying to mature with IndieNotes and as myself as a musician. So the music that's going to be coming from the future is going to have a completely different feel to it. So I really hope anyone or any pony who's listening is very much excited and looking forward to that.
So where can the people find you?
I have so many outlets, it's not even funny. The main one's YouTube. I believe I'm under the name just IndieNotes. Twitter at IndieNotes, and find me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/IndieNotesFIM. You can get in contact with me the easiest through Twitter, and you'll most likely find more updates on my music via Facebook and YouTube.
Don't forget the Instagram.
If anybody wants a little bit of insight to what Indie's personal life can be from what I ate to what I purchased, be it Pink Isle stuff, you could find me at also Indie_notes.
Well, thank you, IndieNotes, for being on I'm Brony and I'm Proud. It's been a pleasure to have you. I'm so buzzing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience up to now, and I can't wipe the smile off my face. I just can't stop.
Same here. Thank you, though, for this opportunity. It was really cool.
Have a good one.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been I'm Brony and I'm Proud. Lucky Knight speaking. Thanks for listening. Remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IBAIPshow. Proud to be a Brony. Intro and outro by Black Griffin. My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
My little pony. I used to wonder what friendship could be. My little